Hari, record, Okay. So, when it comes for marketing mix elements, right? We know there are 4 elements, as we already discussed. Main elements. In total, there are 7 elements, but mainly there are 4 elements immaterial to the industry, immaterial to the product, what you sell, you need to have. Those are products, price, place, and the promotion. The 4 main initial elements identified by Jerome McCarthy in mid-60s under marketing mix components. And on top of that, you have 3 more additional elements where you are using to manage service-oriented business, where you must have the people management, process management, and the physical evidence management. There are 3 additional components what we talk about. So in total, you talk about 7 elements in marketing mix. Namely, once again, I will repeat: product, price, place, promotion, people element, process management, and the physical evidence management. So those are the 7 elements. So we had the introduction before. So we are taking these initial 4 elements one by one, since those are major elements in whatever the industries. So we were talking about product, we were talking about distribution, we were talking about pricing. Now today we will be taking about promotion, so-called communication between our target market and the target audience, so-called customers and the consumers whom we are dealing in our business, right? So first of all, you all should know what do you mean by the term promotion, which is coming under marketing mix element. So promotion, as I said, from the company's point of view, it is promotion, but from the consumer's point of view, it is a communication, what we do between the company and the consumer or the customer, so-called target market and the target audience. So, and I wonder whether you have noticed these few words: customer, consumer, target market, target audience. There are differences in these words, remember. So your consumer may not be your customer. Your consumer may be your customer. So customer may or may not be, in simple term, your consumer. You buy your product for someone else's consumption, which means you're the customer. The person who is really consuming the product is a consumer. Let's say, as an example, if you really look at the kids' milk powder, consumer is a kid. Ancopedia Pro is not for you and I. So Ancopedia Pro is consumed by kids, but Ancopedia Pro Mama version is for not for gents, but for ladies, those who are pregnant. So I mean, the consumer is the person who is really consuming the product. He may or may not be the customer, and vice versa. The target market and the target audience, once again, somewhat similar. Target market is the group of customers who are really targeted to the product, right? We call it target group, TG here, industry term. Sometimes you might heard TG. What is your TG? Your manager might ask, okay, what is your TG? Your friend might ask, what is your TG? TG means target group, right? So TA means target audience. So in communication perspectives, we communicate to the audience, but our target group might differ. TA may be the TG in real life. It is perfectly okay. But the communication goes to the target audience, and target audience can be the target market as well. So similarly, consumer can be the customer. Customer can be the consumer. Target market can be the target audience. Target audience can be the target market. So in communication, I'm repeating, we are communicating with our target audience and the target market with our message. So in communication, what we really do, we are taking the company's message in the mindset of the target market and the target audience. We are taking the company's message to the mindset of the target market and the target audience, which means message could be related to a new product what you are promoting. Message could be related to a product modification what you have done. for your product. Message could be about a product discontinuation. So this product is going to discontinue, maybe the message. So people will buy immediately. So message could be something related to an important, ingredient related to the product. So whatever you name it, or promotional offer, maybe, right? So, and maybe some kind of a awareness what you build to create a knowledge to influence the target market and the target audience. So communication might do for many reasons, my dear friends, remember. So you need to identify, first of all, the purpose behind whatever the communication you're planning to do with your target market and the target audience. So when you really look at before, though you can see the slides here, what are the communication tools, right? Before you think about a communication, you got to have a clear idea about why am I doing communication? What is the reason behind my communication strategy? Why, what is the purpose? What is the objective I'm trying to achieve by doing this, by implementing these communication strategies using whatever the tools you are using? You can see here. Now, these tools are commonly used tools, but there are some more. There are some more in modern marketing. There are some more tools we can discuss, but in commonly used tools, you can see here in this slide. So now we need to look at what are the objectives behind communication. Now, let's say as an example, if you're coming up with a new product, you're coming up with a new product. So when you talk about new product, nobody knows about your product. Does anyone know about your product? No, because it's a new product. Nobody knows. And it's, let's say it's an innovative product. Then nobody anyway knows your product because not even a competitor available. Before Coca-Cola came into the market, nobody knows, right? Nobody knew, right? And today, many knows Coca-Cola, the brand name. Whether you consume it or not is a different concern, but you know the brand. So, your communication should be to create some kind of an awareness, create a knowledge, create, conviction, decision-making style using your communication campaign. So one objective, what we can see in marketing communication, we can identify as informative objectives. We can identify as informative objectives, which means we are communicating to inform something to the target market and the target audience. So inform whatever related to the product or the service what you do, or whatever related to the industry changes what is happening, whatever related to the new products, whatever related to the development you are taking place, or changes that are there in the company. Let's say the board of directors are changing, so you create an awareness, right? You inform the audience saying that the board of directors have changed. Now you all might have seen, okay, certain in certain occasions, some companies, the board of directors are taken out by the legal constraints. So public awareness create through whatever the media is saying, that special notices. So to create the trust, they announce saying special notice. So the director board have changed due to these reasons, and these are the new director board. So you feel comfortable and you start negotiating or dealing with those companies once again. So informative communication, inform the target market and the target audience about something. Now let's say new product information and everything. And let's say you open up a hotel and it's a new concept. Maybe, okay, green villa, let's as an example. And you have to inform the tourist, right? About your new project, new experience they can get from the hotel what you have launched. Or you create an awareness to be alert during the current condition when they travel around the country. Let's say you are talking to, you are communicating with your target market and the target audience. So foreign tourism, if you are in the foreign tourism industry and you are talking to your tourist, foreign clients, whatever the actions to be taken in a given condition when they travel inside the country. If something happened, what and what actions to be taken. That also some kind of a communication. You are informing, you're informing whatever the steps to be taken. And let's say as an example, okay, when you are entering into a government department, right? Certain government department nicely display whatever the things they do and whatever the steps to be taken to get your jobs done. They don't do the same way. It's a different concern. But information is given for you to take whatever the steps, right? And they say, okay, once you give the application, that application goes to the person number 2. And from that point, that document goes to the person number 3. So what happened in you give the application to the person number 1 and the person number 2 is missing in the seat for about couple of days. And, so you can't get the things done because of that. So when you go to a government department, I mean, it's like your left, I mean, their left hand doesn't know what his right hand is doing, right? ඒගොල්ලෝගේ වම් අත දන්නේ නැහැ ඒගොල්ලෝගේ දකුණු අත මොකද්ද කරන්න කියලා. So unprofessional, pathetic government service throughout. මේ current condition එකේ විතරක් නෙමෙයි throughout what we see. So and I mean I got an article about this thing, what do you call I mean, the fuel, what is that ministry? Energy, power and energy ministry. Why they are incurring a loss? Right? So unproductive number of staff members and killing the entire profitability of the organization. So it is a danger. So, I mean, okay, that it is nothing to do with the awareness, but see, those things are created some kind of awareness about the public, about those ministries. And let's say as an example, I mean, you're coming up with a new vaccine and you create awareness about the vaccine, right? So new disease, right? Now, these days, monkey, some monkey pox or something, I don't know, like monkey pox or something, some disease is spreading. So the companies are creating awareness, especially the pharmaceutical companies are taking a bit of a step and creating the awareness, right? So why? I mean, like to push their products into the market. So these things are creating awareness. So your communication objective will be to create awareness, inform target market and the target audience about something. So that type of communication objectives we identified as informative communication objectives. Informative communication objectives. Then we have another communication objective, so-called persuasive communication. Persuasive in the sense, the motivative communications. You're trying to motivate your target market and the target audience. Let's say during festival season, okay? Now there's a 50% off discount, right? 75% discount, right? And buy one, get two free, buy one, get one free, right? So it's something like that. What do you mean by that? You're getting motivated and say, oh my goodness, 75% discount, 50% discount. If you buy one, you get another one free and you get motivated and you act immediately to get the offer. And they said, okay, that offer is limited until stock loss, until this date, until this, that, and everything they mentioned. And you try to grab the offer soon before the offer ends. So what happened? You get motivated. With these learnings internally, your internal stimuli are activated and behavior comes in with your reaction. So I mean, the companies are running communication to motivate target market and the target audience, which means we identify those type of communication as persuasive communication. Guys, remember the persuasive communication it is not only for what do you call the promotion activities. Now you all know last couple of, I mean, during COVID, most of the people ran behind Moderna, Pfizer, and all these things, leaving the Sinopharm away, right? So why? Why? They got motivated saying, okay, the Sinopharm is better than, not Sinopharm, what do you call that? Moderna and Pfizer and all the other things that are coming other than China, from other than China, better than the Chinese Sinopharm thing. So they got motivated and went behind those vaccines. I mean, see, it's not only for promotions, right? Not only for discounts and everything. And let's say the behavioral changes are motivated by. Then now, if you really look at industrially brushing the tooth twice a day concept came up in 1980s, right? Industrially, as a business concept, okay? I mean, of course, we know brushing our tooth in the morning and night is good, but industry in commercial level, it came in 1980s. Okay, and they said, okay, you have to brush your teeth twice a day, in the morning and at night. You have to brush. So what happened? They motivated customer to change their behavior and increase the consumption. Now, think the global strategies the toothpaste manufacturers, toothbrush manufacturers implement to expand their market, right? Now, as an example, they motivated, I mean, they said they were using dentist and the specialist in that particular segment, and they were using communication campaigns saying that you have to brush twice a day. And by doing that, I mean, how they increase the market? The person who was brushing in the morning started brushing at night, which means consumption doubled, right? Consumption doubled, which means what? Their market expanded 100%. Market size expanded into 100% growth, right? එකපාරක් මදින කෙනා දෙපාරක් මදිනවයි කියලා කියන්නේ consumption එක double වෙනවා. So what happened? I mean, market expanded for 100%. Then what happened after about now 1980s, this concept came up into the market, and now toothpaste, now everybody, 7 billion population in the world, let's say brush every morning and night. Now where is the expansion? Now where is the market expansion for the toothpaste manufacturers and the toothbrushes manufacturers? Now they identify now, okay, now the stagnant. Now, usually what happened? Oops, sorry. Usually what happened? Now, okay, curve comes like this, grow, and stagnant. Now it goes like this. Now the intention is what? Now they are here. Now they are here. Not now, I mean to say early 2000, they face this. Everybody now brush twice a day. Now no expansion, right? No expansion. Now what happened? They came up with the concept of brush after every meal. How? Right? Using once again the consultants and once again the specialist in the industry. I mean, make a කරන්නේ වෙන කවුරුවත් නෙමෙයි guys. Toothpaste manufacturers and the manufacturers in that particular industry. Right? They said, okay, you all have to brush after every meal. Right? You all have to brush after every meal. So brush after every meal means what? Now you're brushing twice a day. Now you are brushing twice a day, morning and night. Now, how many meals we have? We have 3 main meals, right? We have 3 main meals. So when you increase this to 3 means what? 50% growth in the market. 50% growth in the consumption. Then දෙකක් පාවිච්චි කරන එකන තුනක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ 150ක් වැඩිපුර පාවිච්චි කරනවා. So which means what? Now toothpaste manufacturers globally creating this concept using the specialist and everybody saying, okay, you all have to brush after every meal. Why? Right? Because they want to sell. Otherwise, how come they increase their market size? The metric ton, let's say now if they are manufacturing 100 metric tons of toothpaste for twice a day consumption, when the entire population started brush thrice a day, right after every meal, every main meal. So which means what? They have to manufacture 150 metric tons of toothpaste. So just imagine. So you motivate with your campaigns, you motivate with your communications to change the behavior. Change the behavior, right? So I will tell another example. Very funny. Now this, when you look at these industries, guys, right? Very funny. How we being innocent population getting cheated by these companies, you all can imagine. Now this is a bell-shaped curve, right? Now previously what happened, right? Let's say blood sugar patients in the world. Okay, I can't remember the exact parameter, right? Okay, look at this. I can't remember the exact parameter. So what happened? They said if you're higher than pharmaceutical industry, anyone from the pharmaceutical industry, what was the previous range of high blood sugar and the low blood sugar? I can't remember. What was the previous range? Anyone from the pharmaceutical industry? Anyone from the pharmaceutical industry? Okay, now let's say I can't remember the exact figure. Okay, now let's say as an example, previously, if you are over 130, your high blood, I'm just taking an example. Okay, your high blood sugar patient. Okay, high blood sugar patient. And if you're lower, let's say as an example, 60, right? You're then again low blood sugar patient, right? Now, our brilliant World Health Organization, funded by anyway, top seats are funded by global pharmaceutical companies, have changed this and converted closer to 1 billion population overnight as blood sugar patients. How come they did? They increased the market size for, the drugs related to these two diseases. How come they did? They changed the range. They said, okay, they identified, okay, if you're, again, as an example, if you're over 110, your blood sugar, if you're less than, let's say, 70, your blood sugar, within a night, රෑ බුදිය ගත්ත මිනිහා උදේ නැගිටිනකොට, right, රෑ හොඳට බුදිය ගත්ත මිනිහා උදේ නැගිටිනකොට blood sugar patient කෙනෙක් කරා. Within a night, මෙන්න මේ blood sugar category එකට මෙන්න මේ ප්‍රමාණය add වුණා ලෝකේ market එකට. Within a night, overnight. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ ප්‍රමාණය add වුණා ලෝකේ blood sugar patient ලා විදියට. අර නිකන් අර මෛත්‍රීපාල මහින්දව දැම්මා වගේ නේ. උදේ යන ඔෆිස් එකට යනකොට අගමැති රනිල්, හවස ගෙදර එනකොට අගමැති මහින්ද වගේ. එක මම ඔය ගෙදර එනකොට කිව්වට මම දැක්ක Facebook එකේ දවස්වල ලස්සන පෝස්ට් තියෙනවා. මම බාත්රූම් එකට යනකොට අගමැති මහින්ද, එළියට එනකොට අගමැති බාත්රූම් එකට යනකොට අගමැති රනිල්, එළියට එනකොට අගමැති මහින්ද වගේ. ඔන්න ඔය වගේ සිද්ධියක්. Now who is changing this? The concept. I mean, creating awareness, motivating people, and change the behavior. Change the behavior. Were you worried about Sensodyne previously? Sensitive tools. Were you worried a lot? But Sensodyne changed the behavior. So they motivated you even with a simple, uncomfortable condition over there to use Sensodyne. So you motivate people using communication to do change their behavior. So informative communication, persuasive communication, dekak. Then the other one we identified as reinforcement. Reminding and reinforcement. So what do you mean by the reminding and reinforcement? Reinforcement means what? Reinforce what? Reinforce the behavior, right? Reinforce the behavior by reminding. Now, when Coca-Cola comes into the market saying that Lankan to the last drop, what did Coca-Cola do? Coca-Cola said, Coke tiyanakal jeevithe mal. So when Coca-Cola said Lankan to the last drop, Coke didn't get panicked. Coke said, why you get panicked? Coke tiyanakal jeevithe mal. You don't have to get worried. We are still there. So reminded the clients, so they are consumers saying that Coke's still there. You don't have to get panicked for a new product. Right? So when you really look at the frequency of the communication campaign, it has identified when 100 Coca-Cola commercials runs, Coke ran only 4. Ratio was very, small since it is a reminding campaign. But they said Coke tiyanakal jeevitemal when Coca-Cola said Lankan to the last drop. So see, reminding for what? To reinforce the behavior. They again converted. Now EGB natuwa kෑම එපා. So EGB was a medicated drink over a period. Then what happened? So EGB natuwa kෑම එපා reinforced the behavior, right, to have EGB with every meal, right? Because they identified the Coca-Cola market. They identified people are consuming especially Coca-Cola, Pepsi along with fried rice and whatever the meal. So they converted, they identified, they changed the behavior, right? You saying EGB natuwa kෑම එපා campaign, right? No food, no EGB, no food campaign. So see, right? Reinforce the behavior. Then the other thing, as an example, once again from the same company, යව්වනේ පොපියන චමත්කාරය, cream soda. So they changed the behavior again, reinforce the behavior. Once again from Maliban, කට්ට සම්බල් එක්කත් හොඳයි cream cracker concept with Tairangani Seyarasinga. So see, reinforce the behavior. That මිනිස්සු බත් එක්කත් cream cracker කනවා. Right? කට්ට සම්බල් එක කන්න පුළුවන් නම් බත් එක cream cracker කන්න බැරි කමක් නැහැ. Because it doesn't have a sweet taste. It has a taste where you can have it. Right? So see the way they have changed the behavior. So which means what? Reinforce the behavior. So sunlight became new sunlight. People thought, okay, new, then alut, okay, they started again. Sunlight became sunlight, lemon and lime. People started consuming, then lemon suwada, then lime suwada, then sunlight became rose. Then ඔබ ටික දවසක් යනකොට sunlight තව මොකක් හරි කරලා ඇගේ ගන්න පටන් අරගෙන ලක්ස් එක්ක compete කරන්න පටන් ගන්නවා right? I'm just saying because when sunlight comes into the rose condition, people might even use, right? Even Lux comes into the same fragrance and the sunlight comes into the same fragrance. So, I'm not saying they are trying to, counter a flanker brand, but the fragrance, when you really look at, you can see. So what do we do with these things? We are reinforcing the behavior. Right? So, and reminding and reinforcing the behavior. We see all the communications are, happening at different occasions. For what? Sometimes you see an advertisement in the TV. By the time you pass, by the time you are on your way to office, you see a huge hoarding with the same advertisement. It gives kind of a reminder for you. And it is capturing the mindset again now. Okay, it goes to your you start recalling your memory. Okay, I saw this. You don't do it purposely. It comes in. It comes automatically. Reminding and reinforcement. So your objectives, communication objectives. So there are 3 major, right, communication objectives we identify there in marketing communication. So your sales, what you do, you go and meet a client, retail mudalali, let's say as an example, and retail mudalali, you go and say, mudalali dan sabang kalla me wage wenasak wela tiyenawa, right? You motivate mudalali fellow and you motivate even the people, those who are buying stuff from mudalali fellow and to sell your product. You arrange a nice display, you motivate. So each and every communication is having some kind of an objective remember. So informative communication. There are three types of communication approaches we can take. I mean, generally you can categorize even into four, but I will summarize into three. So informative communication, persuasive communication, which means the communication what we do to motivate our target market and the target audience, and the other one reminding communication, and the other one reinforcement communication. So reminding and reinforcement I'll be taking together because you can't reinforce without reminding. So reminding and reinforce communication. So all together we can identify three type of objectives in whatever the communication you do with your target market and the target audience, right? Any question there? Any question there? Anyone is having any question? Objectives තුන ඕගොල්ලොන්ගේ මෙතන slides වල නැතුව ඇති. හැබැයි question වල නම් ඇති. ඉතින් ලියා ගන්න නැතිනේ දැන් මේ නිකන් බකන් නෙලාගෙන ඔක අහගෙන ඉන්න අහගෙනත් නැතුව ඇති සමහර වෙලාවට. ඉන්නවට වඩා ඒක ලියා ගන්න නැතිනේ. ඒක question වල නම් ඇති. මට මතකයි question වල තිබ්බා. Informative, persuasive, reminding and reinforcement. Right. Okay. Now let's say as example, okay, I do have an objective of objective to inform target market, which means informative communication. So it can be an informative communication, it can be a persuasive communication, it can be a reminding and reinforcement communication, whatever you name it. You need some kind of strategies to achieve your communication objectives. You need some kind of strategies to achieve your communication objectives. So what are those strategies we can use? Strategies means the communication strategies means the things what you can do to achieve your communication objectives. In simple terms, the things what you can do to achieve your communication objectives. It can be informative communication objective, persuasive or in reminding and reinforcement communication objectives. But how can you achieve these communication objectives? That is where we talk about communication mix strategies, right? Or else we call it as promotion mix strategies by taking the word from marketing mix elements, the promotion. So promotion is the communication. You use these words in different ways. Interchangeably, we use these words. Sometimes we call it promotion mix strategies. Sometimes we call it the communication mix strategies. Both same. Both same. Marketing communication mix strategy kiwat, marketing promotion strategy kiyala kiwat, both same. So which means what? I mean, the set of strategies what we can use to achieve our communication objectives. The set of strategies what we can use to achieve our communication objectives. So what are the strategies? Now we can look at advertising. What do you mean by an advertisement? Or what do you mean by advertising? So remember, when it comes to advertising, right? You have to advertise the first thing using a third-party organization, advertising or the media vehicle. We call it media vehicle, right? So it can be social media vehicle, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Quora, you name, right? Okay. So media vehicle, you pay and advertise. Or else you can use the conventional medias, TV, radio, press, kind of thing. Billboards also can be taken, right? Media vehicles, right? So advertising, magazines and everything, advertising you are talking about. So any paid form using a media vehicle, we identified as advertising. And remember, it is a non-personal communication. Why we call it as non-personal communication? Non-personal communication means what? You don't go with the message personally. Media vehicle is taking the message. On behalf of you, the media vehicle is taking the message. So advertising, we identified as the non-personal communication method, which means you don't do personally. Media vehicle is taking on behalf of you, but you have to pay. You have to pay. So there is a huge difference between the advertising and the PR article and also the advertorials. Advertorials are basically the paid advertisements. But the format of an editorial is like a PR article. So PR will be coming later, right? And why I mentioned here, when you look at the news paper, you see certain articles, but at the bottom of the article, either they said it's a paid advertisement or it just say advertorials, which means it's a paid commercial, because PR articles are much attracted than the advertisement, right? People believe PR article than an advertisement. So those are the reasons. And advertisement is that, advertising is that, and the sales promotion means what it. I was talking about persuasive communication, discount offers, and all these things. Short-term incentive, what you give for target market and the target audience. Short-term incentives. May stock until stock last, until 31st December, until festival season, New Year, right? So like that. So you give us, I mean, a timeline for them to react. It's a short-term motivational tool. So sales promotions do not run throughout the year. Intention of the sales promotion needs to get the immediate response from the client, fast reaction from the clients before the deadline of the promotion period. So you motivate, you persuade the target market and the target audience to react for your campaign immediately before it ends. So sales promotion is a short-term motivational tool, right? For discount අරවා මේවා කියන දේවල් තමයි ඔය ඔක්කොම. And the personal selling, what you do day in and day out, that also communication one. Hope you all can remember, I might have even told you all this at the very first few classes, because this personal selling come as a communication tool, right? If you go back and refer your notes, you can get certain definitions. It says clearly, personal selling is a communication tool. Personal selling means what? Either you communicate one-to-one or you communicate one-to-many, which means one person talks to another person, which means your customer, target market, and the target audience. It is a one-to-one communication to sell your product. You go and talk to your client organization to sell the product. So one-to-one approach. Or else, let's say, as example, you come into a public audience and say, hey, look here, this is this. I'm so and so from this company. We are selling these devices, and this product can do this, and you talk about the features and benefit, and you talk to a huge audience and sell. But it is personal selling. It's your personal involvement is there, and not like an advertisement. Advertisement, I said okay, advertisement is a non-personal communication, but personal selling is a personal communication, which means your involvement is there, or the involvement of a company paid representative is there. You go to an exhibition, right? You open up exhibition booth counter and you talk to the clients, those who are coming there to your stall, or else you do a product demonstration in front of the audience over there. So personal selling, you go and meet a client at their location. So and promote the company's product, handle the meeting, promote the company's product, the personal selling approach. So you talk about the either one-to-one engagement or one-to-many engagement with the intention of selling the product or service. And that also meet either to inform about the new product, or either with the intention of informative communication, persuasive communication, reminding and reinforcement communication. Now, let's say as an example, the personal selling you do for informative communication, and you are having an existing client and you got down a new product, the new technology, and you go and talk to the client saying that, hey, look here, we have been supplying you with this product, and but we have got a new technology. In future we will give these are the benefits what you can get from the new product. So your intention is to create, inform the target market, and at the same time motivate or persuade the target market and the target audience about your product and your new service. Or else, let's say as example, you give some kind of a precaution for your target market, saying that okay, when you are using these devices, you have to take some kind of a precautions to mitigate, mitigate or minimize the damages to your employees. So to get to use the device effectively to make it much productive. Right? So you inform. Personal selling, personal selling. So you do either inform to persuade or remind your target market and the target audience. So and reminding, even personal selling you do for reminding purpose. Let's say your customer, do not bother about your agreement. Let's say as example, the post maintenance service agreement as an example. So you call and tell the customer, hey, look here, your agreement is expired. Now, if something goes wrong, you will be in a deep trouble. So go and sign the agreement, then you will get a better service. So companies sometimes, okay, let's say the mobile communication companies are saying, okay, when you don't recharge your maybe the landline or the fixed connection, they said your line has expired, recharge it. You give data bonus this much when you recharge it. Remind and reinforce. The corporate to the non-corporate to the consumer communication, you see this approach, right? So personal selling, you see, even used for all three communication objectives, right? And personal selling, the benefit, especially when it comes for sales management, we talk about personal selling is direct, guys, because when you talk to client, especially by meeting the client, you can look at the client's body language and get an idea, okay, whether this client is, I mean, uh, okay or not, right? So whether this client, the moment, gestures and the postures and the facial expressions, you can see whether the client is really interested towards this. If the client is taking their eyes from you, which means the client is not interested. If the client said, behave something like this, client is fed up in front of you. If the client gives some kind of gestures like this, client is confused kind of thing. So you should be able to, being a salesperson, you should be able to understand these gestures and the postures, and that you can do only when you do the personal selling. And the reaction is immediate, my dear friends. Remember, reaction is immediate. You can ask question, you can answer whatever the queries that are coming up from the consumer side, customer side, when you do personal selling, but that you can't do at an advertisement. Even the DRTV, direct response television, in Sri Lankan context, it doesn't practice a lot other than to a certain extent. Telecine is doing that, but very little. Personal selling, the feedback is immediate. Feedback is immediate, and you can change your approach based on the behavioral science of the consumer by the time you are having the negotiation with the client on the product or the service what you sell. So the personal selling, involvement of a person who is selling the product. And the direct marketing. Direct marketing in the sense, my dear friends, you're directly communicating with your target market and the target audience with the intention of selling or communicating something. So directly communicating with a specified target audience. Now the public advertisement, if I take as an example, we don't drink Ancopedia Pro, but we see the commercial. It's a public communication. It's not a direct communication. But let's say as example, you identified the specific target group where you see that your product must communicate with them. So that is your direct target audience. So you are communicating with them. You are communicating with them. So newspaper advertisement is not a direct communication. It's a public communication. We see, even we don't need the product, we come across with those communication materials, right? Now, direct mailer campaigns are not direct communication, remember. Now, let's say as an example, the e-flyer communication companies, Sri Lanka is horrible, my dear friends, remember, right? Most of the e-flyer communication companies are cheating their clients. So as an example, now direct mailer companies are not direct communication. Remember, it's not a direct marketing strategy. And if I tell you as an example, okay, how many daily newspapers are printed a day? Can someone tell me? How many daily news printed a day? How many LMD printed a day? Jerome Jet LMD. How many daily mirror printed a day? LMD is monthly. How many Silumina? How many Sunday Observer printed a week? Can anyone tell me how many daily news printed a day? Can anyone tell me? 200,000 daily newspapers, 200 to 250,000, and the Daily Mirror 50,000. Papers. LMD like 10 to 15,000 magazines a month, and BT also the same range. And those are not. LMD is not direct. I wonder whether Jerome mentioned it as a direct. Not really. Even it is actually a public one, because even we see the advertisements related to the products that are not there. Direct communication means you identify the specific target audience that directly and you directly communicate with them, and it is more towards the personalized communication. It is more towards the personalized communication. Why I said the circulation of different newspapers, Silumin about 400,000, Sunday Observer about 250,000, Sunday Times about 300,000 circulations a day. Silumin and Dinamina is about 450,000 circulation. And look at the e-flyer companies now talking about e-marketing companies, email companies. Now they said 1 million audience, 1 million email base. All right. Rubbish, my dear friends. Now, when they talk about, this, which means it is not direct communication, because it's a public offer. You get emails, what you don't need. It is not a direct marketing communication thing. So direct marketing means you're directly communicating with a specific audience. Let's say, as example, if you are selling product to that are connected with architects, you what do? You just go and get the magazine architect directory, and you start communicating with that architect audience directly. And rather going haywire and do public communication, you have identified my products can sold through this audience. And why should I waste? I directly communicate with them. And most of the direct communication, as I said before, it's personalized communication. Personalized communication. So we identified the direct marketing communication. And personal selling is one way of direct marketing. That also you need to identify. Personal selling is one way of direct marketing, and all the direct marketing activities are not personal selling. That also you have to remember. Make a direct marketing now. If this is direct marketing set, kulaka, you study set theories now. This is personal selling. This is personal selling. Personal selling is subset උපකුලකයක්. ඊට අමතරව තියෙනවා personalized letters, personalized emails, personalized, let's say, whatever, right? So those things, right? Chat groups. So those are direct, right? So personal selling is only one. Telemarketing is another direct marketing. So many are there, right? Okay, so that is there. So other than this, you see events and experience marketing, DIY marketing. DIY in the sense do-it-yourself strategies. Now, do-it-yourself strategy is very famous. The 3M brand is doing do-it-yourself strategies. So most of the high-end product manufacturing companies, especially the machinery manufacturers, they give hands-on experience for companies before they buy the product, before they finalize the product. So do it yourself. You do it and get yourself experience and buy the products. When you're trying to buy a vehicle, you at least go a ride and see whether this is comfortable and all this. Certain companies are giving cars for top CEOs and the chairmen of companies for them to get themselves comfortable with the product for about 1 week, and they sometimes take the decision then and there and buy the product. Do it yourself. So do it yourself marketing, events and experience. Word of mouth marketing කියලා කියන්නේ කට කතා marketing කියන එක. But unfortunately in Sri Lanka we started that it's a world famous strategy, but unfortunately we got it from politicians into the Sri Lankan context, and they were using nicely in Sri Lankan context, and this for the benefit of their political agendas, not for the benefit of the general public. But in marketing context, you can do word of mouth marketing, and in certain companies, this word of mouth marketing concept practiced nicely using digital context. Viral marketing කියලා කියන digital marketing වල word of mouth, you spread, you share your communication messages across like a viral. So we call it as viral marketing in digital context. So that also word of mouth marketing. එක්කෙනෙක්ට share කරනවා, එයා තව 10 දෙනෙක්ට share කරනවා, එයා තව 10 දෙනෙක්ට share කරනවා. ඒ වගේ you build a huge network. You build a huge network, and it is kind of a network communication. And I'm not talking about the pyramid marketing thing. So it's kind of a network communication where, let's say, as an example, I will show you this. So I mean, let's say one person communicate with 4 people, and he is communicating with another, let's say 2, and this guy is communicating with another 4, and this guy is communicating with another, right, 5, and this guy is communicating with another 1, and this guy start communicating with another 5. So this guy start sharing the post with another multiple. It goes like that. So see, carbonic organic chemistry wala me diagram එකක් වගේ. So viral marketing. So see, word of mouth in digital context, this is how you practice. You send a message, ask people to share, you motivate people to share the message and do it. So something like that. Okay, so word of mouth marketing, event and experience, do it yourself products, promotion campaign, and all these things are some other strategies other than the main strategies what you can see here. Okay, any question, guys? Anyone is having any question? So as strategies, these are the things what you got to know in marketing communication. Any question? Anyone is having any question? Anyone? ගෙම්බ වගේ ඉන්න එපා කතා කරන්න. Anyone is having any question? මේ මෙතන තියෙනවා definition ටික මම ආයි repeat කරන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. ඊළඟ slide එකේ definition ටික තියෙනවා. I have shared this with you all. තියෙන මෙතන තියෙනවා අපි කතා කරපු නැතිවට I will come into the IMC one. Personal selling, මේක අපි කිව්වා personal selling, advertising, sales promotion, event and experience, corporate events, get-togethers. අපි දෙමු ඩොක්ටර්ස් ලා එක්කව කරලා පොඩි get together එකක් තියෙනවා. ඊළඟ දවසේ ඉඳලා ඩොක්ටර්ස් ලාට කියනවා අපි ඒක prescribe කරලා ඉවරලා sale ටිකක් වැඩි කරලා දෙන්නයි කියලා. ඩීලර්ගේ network එකක් organize කරනවා. ඩීලර් dinner dance එකක් organize කරනවා. ඩීලර් cricket campaign එකක් organize කරනවා. So reseller forum එකක් organize කරනවා. So events and experience. Right, PR activities, we were talking about the publicity, and okay, I was not talking much about the PR activity, I guess. So PR activity, this is the public relation activities. Public relation activities කියලා කිව්වහම let's say you do something good to the society, and people will carry your message, right? And when you do, let's say you run okay, you identified an area which is highly affected with dengue. So what do? You start distributing mosquito nets free of charge. So people start talking about your company, and this company started distributing, and they were basically building a relationship with your organization. So corporate social responsibility activities and under PR activities, PR strategy commonly seen using the strategy called CSR, corporate social responsibility activities. They implement CSR activities. So why companies like Brandix, Mars, and Hela and all these people are maintaining lakes and canals in those rural areas or whatever. So they show their social responsibilities of protecting the nature and protecting the environment. And by doing that, they build a relationship with the public around that particular area, and that motivate people to work positively towards the organization, and and they carry the positive message. And when you do something good to the organization, good side is the media will start talking about your good job, the good work what you have done. And even social media, when you do something good to the public and social media, you people start spreading the positive message what you do in public. So those things are the benefits in the public relation. I will tell one of my experience long, yeah, it was in somewhere 2013, 12, 13. Yeah, and there was a clash between a garment manufacturer. I mean, one of the garment in southern region, closer to in between Ahmedabad and what is it, Ambilipitia route. There was a there was a not kind of a small but more mid-range the factory. I think somewhere in Hambantota. I can't remember whether it is in Amitabha Road or wherever. So and what happened? And there was a clash between the factory workers and the village. But and we had to intervene in different context to this issue. And by the time there were one old Archie was shouting the villagers හිටපු කොල්ල සෙට් එකට even I mean we had to visit the location and ඒ ආච්චි කෑ ගහනවා ඒ කොල්ල සෙට් එකට එතන හිටපු ගමෙන් ආපු කට්ටියට ඒ ෆැක්ටරි එකේ ඉන්න මේ ළමයින්ට ගහන්න ආපු කට්ටියට මේ ෆැක්ටරි එකේ මිනිස්සු තමයි මේ මොකද ඉස්කෝලේට ඩෙස්පුටු ටික ලිස්ට් එකක් ආච්චි කියාගෙන ගියා. I even can't remember. පන්සල පේන් කරලා තියෙනවා, ඉස්කෝලේට ඩෙස්ක් පුටු ටික අරන් දීලා තියෙනවා. වගේ ලිස්ට් එකක් ආච්චි කියාගෙන ගියා. කියලිවලා හොඳ වචන ටික කිනුත් කියලිවලා උඹලා ගැහුවොත් එහෙම අපි උඹලට ගහනවායි කියලා අර ඒ concept. Why people try to protect that factory, the story what I wanted to tell. If you do something good to the society, society will protect you, your organization in a difficult situation. So and even the elderly population in that particular area was favored towards the factory, and where to control the crowd who was trying to attack the factory workers over there. So the good side what we identified, they have done when they come up with the factory, they have done so many good things to the area. They have I mean done painting in for few religious places, and a few cultivations they have done. And the best thing they have done, I think the supplied some material and tables and chairs for the school. So those things, certain good activities what they have done as CSR projects. So that created the positive image towards the organization, and organization is protected by the villagers in a difficult time. But let's say, as an example, you do the other way around. You don't bother what is happening to the general public. You dispose everything outside, and I mean, damage the nature, damage the environment, and you don't have proper recycling mechanism. And do you think people will not? People will keep their mouth shut? No, not anymore. People will stand against the company. So CSR, the PR, when you write, when you implement the public relation activities, the corporate social responsibility activities, the CSR activities, you build the positive image towards the organization and the brand, and you start building goodwill among a wider community. And when you run CSR projects, remember, you can't run CSR projects targeting your customers. Your CSR projects are for wider community and not for your specific target customers. Now, let's say as an example, when I take the previous example, what I mentioned, mosquito nets deneka. Let's say you identify that area which is highly affected with dengue and you started distributing the mosquito net, and you identified, when you enter the place, you identified your competitor mosquito net is already hanging there, and you said, no, ඔයා මගේ brand එක නෙමෙයි අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ, මට මං ඔයාට දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා යන්න බෑ. So you can't do something like that, because it can be your customers, it may not be your customers. Across the board, you do something good to the society and not relating to the financial benefits. And remember, CSR is giving some kind of financial benefits also for you all, because you all can practice the CSR using your certain CSR projects. You can use tax money to use certain CSR projects, not all the CSR project. Kopi dansala dili wala tax salary වලින් cover කරන්න බෑ. I mean to say, you can use your tax money to run CSR projects. So that is also another thing what you can remember. So there are certain list of projects what you can identify where you can implement using your tax money. So have a look on them and utilize them. That will improve your non-financial benefits for the organization. So sorry, I missed, I think, the PR one. So I covered that also. Direct marketing kata kara. Interactive marketing kata kara. I mean, we were talking about interacting with the target market and the target audience. I mean, word of mouth interaction වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි engagement වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි clients ලාත් එක්ක digital engagements වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Real world engagements වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Interactivities we are talking about. So interactive marketing we talk about. So these are certain other elements also we can use to communicate with our target market and the target audience. Right. Okay. මොනවාරි questions තියෙනවද? මම දැන් කතා කරන යනවා. මම දන්නේ මාත් පිස්සාවගේ කතා කරනවා. මේ මුන් ටික ඉන්නවද දන්නෙත් නැහැ. 44ක් මේක ඉන්නවයි කියලා පේනවා. මුන් ටික ඉන්නවද දන්නෙත් නැහැ. ඒ බලමු එකක් දෙකක් නම් ලකුණු කළා. චමින්ද ගුණරත්න ඉන්නවද?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. කොහෙද වැඩ කරන්නේ?
Sloan Lanka, sir.
හරි. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good thing. තේරෙනව නේද කරන දේවල්?
තේරෙනවා sir. දැන් මේ sir ඉඳ ඉංග්‍රීසිත් ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. දැන් මේ ඉංග්‍රීසි බැරුවනේ ඉන්න sir. දැන් පොතක් තියාගෙන ලියනවා. දන්නේ නැති වචන ඔක්කොම එකින් එක ලියලා හොයා ගන්නවා sir. එතන තමයි ඉර වෙලා ඉන්නේ sir පොඩ්ඩක් මේ ඉංග්‍රීසි වල. කොහොම හරි හදා ගන්නවා sir.
මම සරල දෙයක් කියන්නද?
ඔව් sir.
මම සරල දෙයක් කියන්නම්. ඇත්තටම ඔතන okay, මම මේක කියලා ඉන්නම්. භාෂාව කියලා කියන්නේ ලොකු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. දැන් අපි හිතමු උදාහරණයක් විදියට, I mean for you and even others, I mean, if you all can, okay, Buddhist might have heard this. අර ගිරා පෝතකයෝ දෙන්න, ගිරා පැටව දෙන්නගේ කතාව අහලා ඇතිනේ. එක ගිරවෙක් හොරගුලට වැටෙනවා, අනිත් ගිරව වැටෙනවා තාපසාරාමයකට. එතකොට හොරගුලට වැටෙන මේ ගිරව හොරුන් කතා කරන වචනව කතා කරනවා, තාපසාරාමයට වැටෙන ගිරව හොඳ වචන කතා කරනවා ගෙදරට. ඕකම අපි හිතමු උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අද ඉපදෙනවා ළමයි දෙන්නෙක් ට්වින්ස්ලා. එකෙක්ව අපි ගෙනියලා එකෙක් කියලා කිව්වට එක දරුවෙක්ව අපි ගෙනියලා අත්තට එකෙක්ව කිව්වම ওই වචනේ යූස් කරා හරි පරිස්සම් වෙන්න ඕනේ. අපෝ මේ නරක වචන යූස් කරනවා කියලා කියනවා. So එක දරුවෙක්ව අපි ගිහිල්ලා ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ දානවා. තව දරුවෙක්ව අපි තියන ගන්නවා ලංකාවේ තියාගන්න. ඒතර ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ඉන්න දරුවට සිංහල පුළුවන් වෙනවද? බෑ. ලංකාවේ ඉන්න දරුවට ඉංග්‍රීසි පුළුවන් වෙනවද අපි කතා කරේ නැත්නම් ඒත් බෑ.
බෑ සර්.
අපි අපි මේක බුද්ධාගමේ කියනවා භාවිතා බහුලීකතෝ කියලා. භාවිතා කරන්න බහුලව භාවිතා කරන්න යමක් සිතෙහි ධාරණය කරගන්න අවශ්‍යයි නම් භාවිතා කරන්න බහුලව භාවිතා කරන්නයි කියන එක. මේක මං භාවිතා බහුලීකතෝ කියන වචනේ මේවා කරාට මේක ඕනම පුද්ගලෙක්ට වැදගත්. මම ඒක බුද්ධාගමෙන් විතරක් අරගත්තට මේ අපි ඕනම දෙයක් භාවිතා කරන්න තමයි වැඩිපුර පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. අපි අවුරුදු 11ක් ඉස්කෝලේ ගියා ඉංග්‍රීසි සතියට පීරියඩ්ස් 4ක් විතර ඉංග්‍රීසි කරා රයිට්. හැබැයි A level ඉවරලා එළියට එනකොට මටත් ඉංග්‍රීසි කතා කරන්න වචනයක්වත් බෑ. හරිද? ඕක තමයි රියැලිටි එක. ඕක තමයි ඇත්ත. රයිට්. ලංකාවේ අධ්‍යාපනය ක්‍රමයේ ඉංග්‍රීසි අධ්‍යාපනය ක්‍රමයේ තියෙන දරුණුතම පසුබෑම ඔන්න ඕක තමයි. ඒකේ හේතුව තමයි මම මේක මේ ඉංග්‍රීසි ක්ලාස් එකක් කරනවා නෙමෙයි. ඒකේ හේතුව තමයි ලංකාවේ ඉගෙන ගන්න ක්‍රමයේ තියෙන්නේ දරුවෝ අපි ග්‍රැමර් ඉගෙන ගන්නවා ඔක්කොම කරන්න කලින්. අපි මේ බය අරගන්න අපි තටම හරි කතා කරන්න අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නේ right අපිට ඇහෙන දේවල් වලින්. හතරක් අපි හරියට කරනවා නම් reading writing listening speaking කියන ඔය හතර. කියවීම මුලින්ම listening සවන් දීම ඊට පස්සේ කියවීම ඇහෙන දේ පුළුවන් තරම් මෙන්න මේ vocal cords වලින් අපිට එළියට දාන්න පුළුවන් නම් තටම හරි වැරදි හරි මේ vocal cords වලින් එළියට දාන්න පුළුවන් නම් කතා කරන එක අනිත් එක ලියන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපිට ඇහෙන දේ හරි ලියන්න පුළුවන් නම් ගලප හරි ලියන්න පුළුවන් නම් right එතකොට reading writing listening speaking කතා කරන්න අපිට පුළුවන් නම් ඒකත් එක්කම ඔය හතර අපිට හිමීට හදාගත්තා නම් බය නැති කරගෙන අපිට මේවා වෙන්න ගොඩ යන්න පුළුවන්.
හදාගන්න පුළුවන් සර්.
ගොඩ යන්න පුළුවන්.
පුළුවන් සර්.
බලන්න ඒක
නැත්නම් පුළුවන් සර්. මම දැන් කොහොමද හදාගන්න මම දැන් අවුරුදු 10ක් සර් ෆීල්ඩ් එකේ අවුරුදු 10ක් ෆීල්ඩ් එකේ වැඩ කරනවා සර්. ඔක්කොම මේ කොළඹ ඒරියස් තමයි මේ අවුරුදු 10ම වැඩ කරේදී අර භාවිතයක් වෙන්නෙම නැහැ සර්. අපේ ඩීලර් කෙනෙක් ගාවට ගියාම සිංහලෙන් තමයි ඉතින් ඔක්කොම good morning හරි good afternoon හරි තමයි කියවෙන්නේ මේ ඉංග්‍රීසි වචනයක. ඩීලර්ස්ලත් එක්ක.
මේ ඩීලර් මාකට් එක ගැන ඇත්තටම මම පෙටා මාකට් එකේ first cross street second cross street I mean අර තියෙන කේසර් ස්ට්‍රීට් ඔය ඔක්කොම ඒ පෙටා ඩීලර්ස්ලා හැන්ඩල් කරලා තියෙනවා. ලංකාව මාකට් එකේ ඉන්න කන්සියුමර් ඉලෙක්ට්‍රොනික ඩීලර්ස්ලා 300කට එහා හැන්ඩල් කරලා තියෙනවා. රයිට් IT ඩීලර්ස්ලා අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම මේ IT ඩීලර්ස්ලා 150කට එහා හැන්ඩල් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඩීලර් මාකට් එකේ මම දන්නවා. අපිට කියලා සුද්ධ වෙන්න බෑ ඩීලර් මාකට් එක ඉස්සරහ. අපි මේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ සපත්තුවට බහැලා තමයි කතා කරන්නේ. ඉතින් අපිට ඉතින් ඉංග්‍රීසි කතා කරන්න බෑ. ඉතින් ඩීලර් මාකට් එක ඒක තමයි රියැලිටි එක. සිල්ලර් කඩේ
මේ සර් ප්‍රයිසින් ගැන කතා කරද්දිත් මට ඩීලර්ස්ලා තමයි සර් මතක් වුණේ. මොකද මේ දවස්වල ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි සර් හොඳටම ප්‍රයිසින් කරන්නේ. සතියෙන් සතිය ප්‍රයිස් ඉන්ක්‍රීස් කම්පැනි වල.
Exactly.
ඉතින් ඩීලර්ස්ලා හැමදාම යනකොට මේ කොළ තියාගෙන අලුතෙන් ප්‍රයිස් හදනවා. හැමදාම අලුතෙන් ප්‍රයිස් හදනවා.
Exactly.
මේ දවස්වල. ඔව් සර්. Thank you sir.
No problem. Senal Senal are you there? Senal are you there? කවුද මේ සෙනාල්ද සමාධි වෙන්නේ? ඈ? Senal?
Senal swami.
Okay, you are there. Senal මේ වන්දනය I wonder whether how you can do it. බලන්න ඉංග්‍රීසි ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක මේ ඉන්න කට්ටියට ඩිස්කවුන්ට් එකක් එක්ක දෙන්න පුළුවන් කමක් තියෙනවා නම් දෙන්න. පබ්ලික් සෙෂන් එක ඒක දෙන්න පුළුවන් කමක් තියෙනවා නම් මේගොල්ලෝ දැනට ඉන්න කට්ටිය ඔයගොල්ලෝ වර්ක්අවුට් කරන්න පුළුවන් කමක් තියෙනවා නම් වර්ක්අවුට් කරලා දෙන්න. හා? මේකද ඉන්න ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලාට බලන්න මොකද්ද කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. right? Okay. මම කියන්නේ guys මේමයි ඕක මේමයි අවාසනාවට අපි ජපානේ නෙමේ අවාසනාවට අපි කොරියාව නෙමේ අවාසනාවට අපි චීනේ නෙමේ right අවාසනාවට අපි countries like Lithuania right ඒ වගේ countries නෙමේ ඒගොල්ලොන්ගේම ඕන් භාෂාවල් වලින් ජර්මන් වගේ ඒවත් ගොල්ලොන්ගේ ඕන් භාෂාවල් ප්‍රයොරිටයිස් කරලා වැඩ කරන රටක් නෙමෙයි අපි. But I'm not saying අවාසනාවට කියන එක, but if you are to deal with international community, you need to have the common language. So to have a common language, because a common English is a global language, so you need to have some kind of a effort. බලන්න හොඳ YouTube channels තියෙනවා, right? I think ගිහලා බලන්න නම නම් ජරාවනේ. සින්දු අහනවා, ෆිල්ම් බලනවා, ඒක මේවා කරන එකේ හොඳ YouTube channels, education channels තියෙනවා YouTube වල. එතකොට හරි විදියට යන සිස්ටම් එකකින් ඒ දේවල් බලන්න පුළුවන් තරම් අර හොඳ ෆිල්ම්ස් තියෙනවා ඉංග්‍රීසි වල. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ ලැන්ග්වේජ් එක අන්ඩර්ස්ටෑන්ඩ් කරගෙන ඕගොල්ලන්ට යන්න පුළුවන් හොඳ ඉංග්‍රීසි මූවිස් තියෙනවා. BBC CNN වගේ නිවුස් channels බලන්න. අහන්න, right? තේරෙන්නේ නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? එතකොට ඒ වගේ දේවල් ඕගොල්ලන් daily පොඩි ආටිකල් එකක් කියවන්න, පේලි 10ක් කියවන්න. තටම හරි කමන්නේ LinkedIn එකේ මොනවා හරි දෙයක් ලියන්න, ටයිප් කරන්න, බය වෙන්න එපා. වචන වරදී ග්‍රැමර්ලි තියෙනවා, ග්‍රැමර් වැරදුනොත් හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඒවට වහල් වෙන්න එපා. මොකද එහෙම වුණොත් එහෙම ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඒව සිස්ටම් නැති වෙච්ච දවසකට ඕගොල්ලන්ට වෙනම මුකුත් කරන්න බෑ. So guys, actually by the time when we leave our school in 1994 අපිට ඔය මුකුත් මගුල් තිබ්බේ නැහැ. Right? ඇත්තටම කියන්නේ අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න මේ ඉන්ටර්නෙට් කියන එක ඒ කාලේ අපිට එහෙම ටච් වෙලා තිබ්බනම් we would have done wonders by now, right? ඉතින් ඒක තමයි reality එක. ඉතින් ඒ හින්දා ඉගෙන ගන්න කවදා හරි ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඉගෙන ගත්ත දේ තමයි ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ. මොකද එහෙම නැති වුණොත් හරි අමාරුයි. ගොඩක් කට්ටිය I will tell you all, okay, it's worth telling you all this. But we have identified some are getting matured with experience. Some are getting matured with experience. There is a situation where you can't cross certain hurdles without qualifications. There are certain hurdles you can't cross without qualifications. By that time you get stuck. On the other hand, some are getting qualified without experience. That also of no use. Guys, remember, qualification කියලා කියන්නේ අද ගත්තොත් මම උදාහරණයක් කියන්නම්. අවුරුදු 15න් O level කරනවා, right? O level කළා private university එකකට enter වෙන්න පුළුවන් with O level. First year diploma එකක් කරලා, second year diploma එකක් කරලා, advanced diploma එකක් කරලා අවුරුදු 3ක් වෙනකොට you can get a degree. අවුරුදු 15 වෙලා මේ අවුරුදු 18ක් 17මාරක් 18ක් වෙනකොට degree එකක් එක්ක එළියට එනවා. BSc whatever degrees. If you all really want to know, 350 plus UGC approved universities are now currently operating in Sri Lanka. 350 plus UGC University Grant Commission approved universities are operating in Sri Lanka either directly or indirectly. So education market is flooded. එතකොට අවුරුදු 18ක ළමයෙක් ඩිග්‍රී එකක් අරගෙන එළියට එනවා. ඒ ළමයා මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? ජොබ් එකක් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් ගන්න try කරන්නේත් නැහැ. අවුරුදු 18යි. So anyway, employment, and if you are to enter into employment, you should complete now I think 16 with the current labor law. I think 16. I'm not quite sure. අපි හිතමු 18 කියලා. 18 enter වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් what they do now, unfortunately we have MBAs for 1 year 6 months. So don't never ever select an MBA, 1 year MBA, 6 months MBA, never select. Utter waste of your time and effort, right? Utter waste of your money. Don't select an MBA. At least MBA should be 18 months MBA. So let's say as an example, you take 2-year good MBA and do a student who completed a degree in 18, by the time 20, he comes out with an MBA holder. Or do we say MBA holder without experience? Now with an MBA, then what do they do? I mean, parallel qualification they can get. They can get multiple qualifications, Now they don't stick into one particular stream of study, multiple qualifications. Then when you have, if you have money, you can select even local, in the sense not local government universities, locally operate bodies that are offering doctorates from foreign universities, through foreign universities. So for a PhD, it will take about I mean, not 2 years, a good PhD. If it is a good PhD, at least you will have to spend for about 3.5 to 4 years minimum. And there are certain PhD retailers in Sri Lankan context. I'm not saying them, right? Let's say good PhD, maybe about 4 years as an example. By the time 24, you're a PhD holder with a doctorate. Can you compete with qualifications with those guys? This diploma is peanuts if you are comparing with those qualifications. You should have a blend of both. By the time you start going for an interview, your PhD of no use sometimes. Unless it's some kind of a technical related one where you implement your own concepts and you implement your own direction, you go with your own investment kind of a thing. So the qualifications are flooded in the market. You should be careful. So now you are competing with kids. You being a mature, I mean, sometimes people, and I sometimes interview double MBA guys, those who are not even 25. Not even 25 double MBAs. MBAs දෙකක් තියෙන මිනිස්සු සමහරලාට අපි interview කරනවා. No use for corporate sector. They can't even stand up and talk sometimes. This is the reality. So qualification එක ගන්නවයි කියන එක, I mean, you have to mature with the experience. You have to mature with the experience plus qualification. Then you can do wonders. Experience plus qualifications. Experience plus qualification. Then you can do wonders, guys. So එහෙම නැතුව එක පැත්තකින් විතරක් stream වෙන්න එපා. So then you will not be able to, I mean, you will be okay, but you will not, there will be a point where you can't cross certain hurdles. Yes, okay, Jeremy Dazi sir, can you advise what kind of a qualification we should follow after DSSM? It's like this, I mean, you need to identify your stream first. Then, I mean, like, you can even do, I mean, if you are into marketing, if you are into sales and marketing, anyway, the CIM is a qualification. So because it's a world recognized qualification in the sense it is a UK based qualification. So then you can do, if not, you can do an MSc or an MBA, right? So after CIM, not with the DSSM, you can do MBA, right? So I mean, then you can follow further. But then again, you got to identify. And remember, guys, DSSM is basically not just the paper qualification thing, right? This is a practical one, and I mean, yeah, I can't remember the exact name for that category. Which diploma? I can't remember the category which is coming under here, because when you look at the qualification verification, it comes under the different category. So if you talk about continuation in marketing or the sales, CIM is the best. So I know because I'm a double qualified marketer here. I have SLIM, I have CIM both. So I know the recognition of both. CIM is the globally recognized, one of the best qualification, which is pulled by most of the corporate sector. But you have to spend a bit true. But when you are selecting a one, you have to select one which is really good, because you don't have money to spend here and there. So those things you should be careful. So and yeah, you can go like that. I can't. It depends on the stream that you're in. It depends on the stream that you're in. I'm really sorry. I saw Russell over Raja Kirula. Yes, Chaminda Gunaratna is one of the revamp, project revamp we did. So any questions so far you all have related to the subject? Guys, පුළුවන් තරම් මෙහෙමයි. එක area එකක stick වෙලා ඉන්න එපා. අනිත් areas වල qualified වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. qualification එකක් විදිහට එන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. But you all need to have the knowledge in those areas. Sales කරා කියලා imports ගැන දන්නේ නැතු වෙන්න බෑ. Sales කරා කියලා finance ගැන දන්නේ නැතු වෙන්න බෑ. Sales කරා කියලා little bit of other industries තමන්ගේ industry එකෙන් එළිය තියෙන දේවල් ගැන දන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න බෑ. Sales කරා කියලා ඉවල්ලා regulations ගැන දන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න බෑ. පොඩ්ඩක් law ගැන දැනගන්න ඕනේ. Sales කරා කියලා මං කියන්නේ ඒක multi skilled වෙන්න මං කියන්නේ multi qualified වෙන්නයි කියලා. Multi skilled වෙන්න because when you are implementing something you can talk with a sense guys. නැත්තම් කට අරගෙන බලාගෙන ඉන්න වෙනවා. That I will tell honestly, right? I'm not a fan of cricket. Okay. සමහර වෙලාවට මම ඇත්තටම ක්‍රිකට් ගැන චුට්ටක් හරි කියවන්න ඉගෙන ගත්තේ මොකද ෆීල්ඩ් එකට ගියාම මම සමහර වෙලාවට කට අරගෙන බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා මම ඒ දවස්වල මට වීලු කරන පුළුවන් නම් ක්‍රිකට් ටීම් එකේ ඉන්න ගාන කියපන් කියලා මගේ යාළුවා. So ඒ තරම් I don't like that. I don't know for some reason I'm not a fan of cricket. But I started studying a bit because when I go on the field, I'm talking about in 1994, 5, and even later. ෆීල්ඩ් එකට ගියාම මිනිස්සු කතා කරනකොට මට කතා කරන්න සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකක් නැහැ. කතා කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ මට. මට සමහරවිට ඔහේ ඩිස්කෂන්ස් වල ඔහේ අයිඩල් වෙන්න වෙලා තියෙනවා. So then I thought about okay මේක ගැන ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් නැති වුණාට බලාගත්තට කමක් නැහැ පොඩ්ඩක් කියන එක. So you need to have some kind of an idea, overall idea. Otherwise you will be rejected. So ඒද දැනගන්න overall දැනගන්න පොඩි දේවල්. I'm not saying okay මොකක්ද අර කියන්නේ master of none and jack of all trade, master of none. එහෙම නෙමෙයි. I'm not saying like that. But generally you need to have an idea. Generally you need to have an idea of multiple industries. And yeah, someone was raising the hand. Yeah, Rosetli, I think you. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Buddha.
සර් එදත් අර මං හැවේ මේ ලෙටර් එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා රීඩ් කරනවා කියලා DSSM. එතකොට මේ සෙකන්ඩ් අසයින්මන්ට් එක කරාට පස්සේ එකත් go through වුණොත් තමයි ගන්න පුළුවන් නේද සර්? සෙකන්ඩ් ස්ටේජ් එක පස්සේ ගන්න. මං එහෙම සර් මැසේජ්. ඔව් මම මැසේජ් එකක් දාලා හැවුවා මේ මට ලෙටර් එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා.
Okay. දැන් කොහොමත් මේ letters issue කරන්න නම් final level එකට ආපු කට්ටියට විතරයි පුතා. මේ then you are submitting this thing. What is the reason?
සර් මම මේ ජොබ් එකකට ඇප්ලයි කරා. ලංකාවෙන් නෙවෙයි. මම මගේ රස්සාවෙනුත් අස්සලා තමයි ඇප්ලයි කරේ. ඊට පස්සේ මේ කියනවා ඩිග්‍රී එක විතරක් මදි. එක ෆීල්ඩ් එක ස්පෙෂලායිස් කරලා කරනවා කියලා මොන හරි ප්‍රූව් කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා.
What is the degree you have done?
Bachelor of Management Studies.
Where? Which university?
Open University.
Open University. Good. Anyway, you are submitting. No. Okay, you just talk to Senal and make a request. We will be able to give since you have come. How is your attendance?
මං හැම ක්ලාස් එකකම ආවා සර්.
Okay, good. So just make a request to Senal. I can't take a decision alone, right? I can't take a decision alone, right? So අපි ওই වගේ දේවල් වලදී මම තනි decision එකක් ගන්නෙ නෑ, but you will be able to get it now since you all have come into the level to the end. You will be able to get it, right? So just put a request to Senal, right? But that letter is not a common letter. Common open letter එකක් නෙමෙයි දෙන්නේ. To whom it may concern letter එකක් නෙමෙයි දෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ personalized letter එකක් දෙන්නේ. ඔයා request කරන company එකට ගන්න පුළුවන්. I don't think අපි personalized to whom it may concern letters දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒතකොට ඒක ඕන දැනකට valid වෙන හින්දා මේ because you are getting a good transcript and a certificate finally ඒකේ ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ achievements ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. gradings තියෙනවා. transcript එකේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ cover කරන syllabus එක තියෙනවා. ඒ ඔක්කොම ටික transcript එකේ තියෙනවා. ඔයා කියන්න මොකද්ද කියලා then they will give you, right? මොකද්ද company එක කියලා කියන්නේ then they will you send it to Senal and give a text to me tomorrow, then I will have a look on it.
Thank you sir.
No worries, right? So no, I mean it's like this actually. I mean we are here to support everyone. I mean it's not like okay. I mean no hard and fast rule. The purpose is to give some kind of a knowledge for you all and to make it have some good uh, audience over there. And theory වලින් විතරක් ලයිෆ් එක දුවන්න බෑ. ඇත්තම කිව්වොත් ඕගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගන්න තියරි වලින් ප්‍රැක්ටිකලි ඕගොල්ලෝ ෆීල්ඩ් එකට යූස් කරන්නේ නැහැ 125%ක්වත්. ඕක තමයි රියැලිටි එක. Even if you do MBA, right? MBA theories වලින් ඕගොල්ලෝ 10%ක්වත් කම්පැනි එක ඇතුළට ගිහිල්ලා ඉම්ප්ලිමන්ට් කරන්න ගත්තොත් ඕගොල්ලන්ට පයින් දෙකක් ගහලා සමහරලාට එලවන කම්පැනිස් ලංකාවේ තියෙන්නේ. Because you can't do like that. But the behavioral science you bring with that exposure change, right? Your behavior. ඉතින් ඒ හින්දා ඒ පැත්තෙන් ඕගොල්ලෝ අරගෙන යන්න. Okay, this diploma, skill based diploma කියලා කියන්නේ අපි මේ කැටගරි එක. දැන් මේ අපේ තියෙන DSSM කියලා කියන්නේ skilled based diploma එකක්. PDSBM කියන්නේ skilled based diploma එකක්. DSMM කියලා කියන්නේ skilled based diploma එකක්. ඉතින් ඒවා ස්කිල් බේස් ඩිප්ලෝමා එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ අපි එක ඒරියා එකකට විතරයි ස්කිල් එක ફોකස් කරන්නේ. දැන් සේල්ස් වල අපි තනිකරම සේල්ස් රිලේටඩ් ස්කිල් එක තමයි මේක හදන්නේ. වෙනසක් තියෙනවා guys. I will tell once again දැන් ලංකාවේ ට්‍රෙන්ඩ් එකක් යනවා executive MBA කියලා. Guys don't get caught for words. මේ වචන වලට අහු වෙන්න එපා. එක ළමෙක් මට අවුරුද්දකට කලින් ඇවිල්ලා කිව්වා, "Sir, I'm following an executive MBA." I said, so what? So it's better than a normal MBA. I was asking who said. Now everybody said it's executive MBA. I asked him to go and refer the MBA versus general MBA versus executive MBA. Google and identify. Executive MBA is a diploma level. So guys, don't get caught for. I mean, අපි ලංකාවේ තියෙන private institutes proudly කියනවා executive MBA මාස 8යි මාස 6යි. Unfortunately, certain institutes offer මාස 6 MBA එකක්. MBA එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ guys remember qualification එක නෙමෙයි. ඕගොල්ලෝ MBA එකට ගියොත් ඕගොල්ලෝ මෙන්න මේ ඉගෙන ගත්ත දේවල් ඕගොල්ලෝ මේ ඉගෙන ගත්ත දේවල් MBA එකේ ඕගොල්ලෝ repeat කරයි. MBA එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ ඒක නෙමෙයි. When I was selecting an MBA, I was dragging until the group is okay for my class. මම MBA එක drag කරා මම හිතන්නේ අවුරුදු 2ක් 3ක් විතර මම MBA එක drag කරලා මම බැලුවා කවුද MBA එකට register වෙලා ඉන්න කට්ටිය කියන එක. Right? Because your network is important. What you build the relationship is important. Don't just select an MBA and go and sit in the class and come out and get through the paper and no, it's utter waste of time, right? Whatever the relationship you build in the MBA batch, the class, the students, the network you gathered, you can do wonders, man. And even guys now here 40 heads here, right? 41ක් ඉන්නවා මෙතන මාත් එක්ක 41ක් මාව අයින් කරොත් 40ක් ඉන්නවා. You guys are from different companies, na? Come on. එක කම්පැනි කාට හරි උදව්වක් වුණොත් කම්පැනිස් 40ක යුනිවර්සිටිස් කීපයක විස්තරයක් ගන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතමු උදාහරණයක් විදිහට යුනිවර්සිටි එකක විස්තරයක් ගන්න ඕනේ ගෲප් එකේ දාලා I just need to get some idea about this, can someone support? That relationship is important. Those things are important what you build, so not the paper qualification sometimes. So never select. And one more thing, in case you're trying to migrate, never select an MBA with 1 year or less than that. The moment you apply for qualification verification, that MBA will consider that just a diploma. ඔන්න මම hint එකක් දුන්නා. Qualification verification එක කරපු ගමන් මාස 12ක නම් MBA එක, that qualification considered as a diploma, not an MBA. ඉතින් ඒ හින්දා careful වෙන්න. MBA should be minimum more than 18 months. Reading period. තවත් මේකක් මම කියන්නේ. So be careful. If you are planning to migrate, your MBA will not be an MBA unless those criteria are met. Hari, we are deviating from the subject. Okay, any question related to the things what we were talking about? Right, මේවා අපි කතා කරා. Now we are coming into the integrated marketing communication thing. IMC. Integrated marketing communications. What do you mean by the word integration? Integration කියන වචනේ තේරුම මොකක්ද? What do you mean by the word integration? Integrated marketing communication. Integration. What do you mean by the word integration? Connecting two or more. Integration means what? You combine two or more. Now here it says integrated marketing communication, which means what? What do you integrate? You are integrating the marketing communication tools. So what are the marketing communication tools? These are the marketing communication tools what we were talking about, which means you're combining two or more marketing communication strategies, communication techniques to achieve your communication objectives. What are the communication objectives? Informative objectives, persuasive objectives, reminding and reinforcement objectives. So you combine two or more marketing communication strategies to achieve your communication objectives. We identified as integrated marketing communication. We identified as integrated marketing communication. මොකද having only one communication tool, sometimes you will not be able to achieve your communication objectives. So you want to inform wider audience. So you can't stick only into Facebook. You can't stick only into TV advertisement. You can't stick only into a newspaper. You have to have multiple visibility. Your visibility build your credibility in communication, remember. Your visibility build the credibility in your communication. If you are visible, and visibility build the credibility ke level la නිකන් නිකන් මෙලෝ I will use this word මෙලෝ රහක් නැතුව visible වෙලා වැඩක් නැහැ. ලස්සන්ට visible වෙන්න ඕනේ, pleasantly visible වෙන්න ඕනේ. හරි විදියට visible වුණොත් you can build the credibility among the target market and the audience. So integrated marketing communication is increasing your visibility in multiple platforms, multiple tools, strategies, and that also will help to build your credibility, because the moment the repetition comes, it goes into the mindset of the consumer. It goes into the mindset of the consumer and build something called mind share. අපි කතා කරන්නේ market share. අපි කතා කරනවා I mean market share එක, sales growth එක. We don't talk about the mind share. We don't talk about the heart share. So those are spiritual dimensions in the sales management. මුදලාලිව 10 පාරක් දැක්කට පස්සේ තමයි මුදලාලිට මතක් වෙන්නේ මේක මේ කම්පැනි එකෙන් තමයි ආවේ කියලා. පළවෙනි පාර දැක්කම මුදලාලි 7-5කට ගණන් ගන්න නැහැ ඔයගොල්ලෝ. මිනිහගේ මොලේටයි heart එකටයි යන්නේ නැහැ. So if you as a salesperson, you have to capture the mind share, you have to capture the heart share. So those are spiritual dimensions in sales management. So your communication, integrated marketing communication, your materials what you are using, your displays what you are using, your personality. Right. So the way you are wearing your dress code, the way you are wearing your tie, way you are wearing your, I mean, your dress, your personal hygiene, right? I mean, you're a product, you're a gift in front of a customer. Remember, you're a gift, right? So your customer should be able to pleasantly unwrap the gift and experience the satisfaction. Remember, so make all these together, combine all these together to get the better sales. So integrated marketing communication means, guys, connecting two or more marketing communication mix elements to achieve your communication objectives. So මොනවද මේ two or more marketing communication tools කියලා කියන අපි මේ කතා කරපු strategies ටික, right? So moving into that, I'm coming into the macro view of the communication process. These are theories which can be tested. Macro view of the communication process, or when you are doing a communication, you see the macro view like this, right? So look at this model. This model talks about what happens in any communication, immaterial to the marketing communication, the sales communication, and even the personal communication. So what happens there? So you may be communicating with your target market and the target audience, and you are trying to send a message to your customer, your target market, and the target audience. So your customers are the receivers of your message. Your customers are the receivers of your message. So you are the sender, receivers are the other end, your target market and the target audience. Now look at. Now, when you are sending the message, you have to send the message in a way where your target market and the target audience can read and understand, can see and understand, can hear and understand. What do you call it? 5 sensory organs, right? අපි කියන්නේ ඇස කන නාසය දිව ශරීරය තව එකක් තියෙනවා විඥානය කියලා. Mind, right? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, and mind. So 6 sensory organs. Your message should be able to convert or get the meaningful idea by using the 6 sensory organs by the consumer. So we identify that as decoding. Consumer, your receiver, the message receiver, your target market and the target audience should be able to decode your message. If they are to decode, you have a responsibility to encode the message in a proper way. Now your customer doesn't know English and you try to make so posh advertisement in English medium. What will happen? Summa. Customer will not understand anything. So encoding a message. Lankaවට ගෙනලා advertisement එකක් දානවා French language එකේ. කීප දෙනෙක් දන්නවා French in Sri Lankan context. But you and I don't understand. The product is a brilliant product suitable for us, but we don't understand. So we are not encoding, which means the advertisement in a way where your target market and the target audience can decode. Decode means what? They put the message into the 6 sensory organs and get the clear meaning. Encoding means what? Designing the message in a way where you give a clear meaning to the customer. So you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility when you are doing marketing communication. So marketing communication එකක් කරනකොට message එක encode කරන්න ඕනේ ඒ විදියට. Message එක decode කරගන්න පුළුවන් විදියට. ඒතර decode කරගන්නේ කවුද? Receiver. Encode කරන්නේ කවුද? Sender. So if it is a non-personal communication, if it is a personal communication, you're taking the message to the customer. But if it is a non-personal communication like media advertisements and everything, so you are using something called media vehicle to take the message to the target market and the target audience. Media vehicle, මොකද්ද? Newspaper එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Radio channel එක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Internet වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So those are media vehicles, right? So you are using a media vehicle to take your message to the customer. Look at the flow. You're the person who is sending the message. You send the message, you first encode the message and use a media and send the message. This person is encoding. There are 2 parties in this entire process. Parties are sender, company, receiver, customer, and the consumer. 2 parties are there. Send and the receiver. 2 activities are there. Encoding and decoding. 2 activities are there. Intermediaries, they are media vehicle, those who are taking the message. And remember, communication does not end from these 4 or 5. And let's say as an example, you send the message and receiver decode the message. He read and understand the message. He got an idea about, but he might not respond you. Or else he can identify the message. He can read and understand the message, but he doesn't even bother to look at the message. He doesn't even bother to look at your advertisement. He doesn't respond, which means. Let's say he read and understand the message, which means he respond to the message, but he doesn't give a feedback to you, which means he doesn't at least ask product details kind of a thing. He doesn't call you and ask, no feedback kind of a thing. If the communication process to be successful, if your communication effort to be successful, this entire steps to be completed. You encode the message, use a media vehicle, send it to the client, and he encode the message. He gives the response to the message by encoding and understanding. He give a feedback to you about your message, whether your product is okay for that time. Now the problem. Do we see this in FMCG? Sunlight advertisement එකක් දැම්මම මිනිස්සු කතා කරලා කියනවාද ෂා ටටියානා ලස්සනයි advertisement එකේ ඉන්නවා right ඒකෙල්ල තිබ්බ හින්දා අපිට advertisement එකේ sunlight ටික ගන්න හිතෙනවා කවුද අර චිකුද මොකද කොල්ලක් දැම්මනම් මේ advertisement එක තවත් ලස්සන වෙනවා කියලා වල customer feedback දෙනවද අපිට respond කරනවද අපිට no they don't do like that but how do they respond how do we measure the response we measure the response by the increase in either increase or decline in sale. Let's say as example, Tatiana Madali will advertisement එක කරපු ගමන්. ඔන්න මේක move වෙනවා, sales වැඩි වෙනවා. අර කවුද චිකුද චුචුද මොකද කියන අනේ ඒකොල්ලවත් දාලා කරපු ගමන් බූස් ගාලා sales වැඩි වෙනවා. අන්න ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? customer advertisement එක respond කරලා customer අපිට feedback එක දෙනවා product එක අපි purchase කරනවා කියලා ඉවල. පැහැදිලිද? ඒතර අපිට හැම කමියුනිකේෂන් එකකම කස්ටමර්ට පිස්සු නෑ කතා කරලා කියන්නේ ඕගොල්ලෝගේ sunlight advertisement එක අපි දැක්කා ෂාර් ෂෝ ලස්සන advertisement එකක් කියලා නෝ so there are certain other tools to measure whether your communication campaign will be effective or not so when you are selecting the media here yes who is that okay when you are selecting the media here you are looking at certain ratings අපි TV එකේ advertisement එකක් දානකොට අපි බලනවා මොන time belt එකද ratings වැඩි news time belt එකද morning drive radio එකේ දානකොට බලනවා drive time ද evening morning ද lunch time ද මොනවද ratings වැඩි අපේ product එකට suitable වෙන්නේ කොතනද මොන එකද අපේ product එකට suitable වෙන්නේ right අපි මේ Atlas චූටි ජෙල් පෑන් විකුණනවා රෑ 10න් පස්සේ තියෙන ෆිල්ම් ටයිම් බෙල්ට් එකේ Atlas චූටි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ පොඩි කොල්ලෝ චූටි කොල්ලෝ කෙල්ලෝ ටික එහෙනම් චූටි කොල්ලෝ කෙල්ලෝ ටික ටීවී බලන්නේ අද ඒ කියන්නේ හවස 3 ඉඳලා 6 7 වෙනකන් නම් අපි ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් එක 10ට 11ට දාලා වැඩක් නැහැ so you need to look at so even before you run a campaign you can have some kind of a rating now let's say as an example the newspapers and I told you all, I mean, Daily News printed about 200,000 prints a day, right? Now, do you think 200,000 people will read Daily News? No. Let's say as example, out of 200,000, 180,000 buy the newspaper. 180,000 buy the newspaper. And out of 180,000, they look at only the first few pages. Or the financial page they look at, not the entire newspaper. Let's say 150,000 read a particular set. And if your advertisement available there, your advertisement exposed to 150,000, but they might not see your advertisement. And they might just pass pages and your advertisement might pass. Right? Yeah, I mean 150,000 people. And why people sometimes when they look at they prefer certain pages, inner front, inner back, why they look at page number 5, why they look at page number 8, why they look at certain locations, bottom right hand corner, top left hand corner, kind of a thing, why they look at, because those are priority location in a newspaper. So like that, even before you run the communication campaign, you look at certain things. And let's say 150,000 you expose, but only, I mean, very, very unlikely this figure, right? Only 100,000 saw your advertisement. Very unlikely. මෙහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මෙච්චර ලොකු ගණනක් එනවා නම් ඒක ලොකු දෙයක්, right? Let's say only 100,000 saw your advertisement. Just looking customers. බලලා කියවන්නේවත් නැතුව පාස් කරන කට්ටිය total කියවනවායි කියලා හිතමු as an example 25,000 කියවනවායි කියලා හිතමු මෙච්චර වෙන්නේ නැහැ very unlikely right let's say 25,000 read right and 25,000 read your advertisement and they are okay some are the target market some are not the target market මම කියවනේ public ඒවා direct නෙමෙයිනේ so ඒගොල්ලෝ advertisement එක දැන් මම BMW advertisement එකක් දැක්කයි කියලා මම ඕක බලයි ආසාවට කාර් එක. නමුත් මට ගන්න සල්ලි නැහැ. එතකොට මම ඒගොල්ලෝගේ target market එක ගන්න I might see the advertisement but just forget it. No response, nothing. No I mean response is there for the communication message but no feedback. Just ignore. So let's say may out of this the response only 25k and feedback may be about example, very unlikely but this 5,000 as an example. Feedback, let's say out of those 5,000 feedback, they are requesting further information. This is how your sales funnel is working, my dear friend. This is how your sales funnel is working. May 200,000 start කරපු එක ටික filter වෙලා මේ පල්ලෙහාට වැටෙන්න අපෙන් ටිකයි. Right? මේ request කරන 5,000 වලිනුත් අපිට 50ක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් අපේ product එක purchase කරන්නේ. So see how your message finally boils down to a final sale. So this is what you got to identify. So macro communication model talks about how the communication works in major perspectives. So this model can be tested in your at your exam. So now we are coming into the marketing communication planning campaign. How you design the marketing communication planning campaign. First thing, identify your TG, target group, target market and the target audience, so-called the customers and the consumers. Your segmentation practice is important for that. Then you decide your communication objectives, whether you are planning to inform, whether you are planning to persuade, whether you are planning to motivate, rather remind or reinforce, right? So you have to determine your objectives, the communication objectives, right? The communication objectives බලලා ඉවරලා ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ? You have to design your message. එතන අපි wording style එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. අපි inform කරන්න නම් අපේ wording style එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. Persuasive campaign එකක් නම් අපේ wording style එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. Reminding campaign එකක් නම් අපේ wording style එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. උදාහරණයක් මම කියන්නම්. When Coca-Cola comes into the market saying Lankan to the last drop. What did Coca-Cola say? Coca-Cola කිව්වද අපේ product එක brilliant, අපේ product එක තමයි fantastic. ඒගොල්ලෝ මුකුත් කිව්වේ නැහැ. Coke තියෙන කල් ජීවිතේ මල්. Coke තියෙන කල් ජීවිතේ මල්. මේක තියෙන කල්, ඒ කියන්නේ මේක මෙච්චර දවස් තිබ්බා. එහෙනම් මේක තාම තියෙනවා. මේක තියෙන කල් බය වෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. Look at the way they have reworded the message. Coke තියෙන ඒ wording එකේ යන මේ message එකේ tag එකේ යන දෙයින් ලොකු meaning එකක් කියන. මේක තියෙන කල්, මේක තාම තියෙනවා. මේක ඉස්සරහට තිබ්බා. මේක දැනුත් තියෙනවා. මේක ඉස්සරහට තියෙනවා. මේක තියෙන කල් බය වෙන්න එපා කියන එක ඒගොල්ලෝ. Look at the way you have to design the message. But what did Coca-Cola say? Lankan to the last drop. The flavor, they talk about the flavor. They said, okay, they are coming into the Coke category. Sorry, the cola category. Right? So they talk about the product features. They talk about the interest. They motivated by looking at the customers to at least try the product. So look at the intention behind the campaign. So you need to identify, you need to design the message by looking at the objectives what you have. Then based on that, you have to choose the media vehicle, whether you are going into integrated marketing communication comes here. So what are the media tools you are using, whether it is advertising, sales promotion, personal selling, direct marketing, indirect marketing, interactive marketing, PR and experience, what do you call event and experience and all these things. So in integrated marketing communication activities you look at here. Media vehicle එක මොනවද කියලා බලනවා. ඊට පස්සේ select කරනවා message source එක. ඒ source එක select කරගෙන අපි message එක run කරලා feedbacks ගන්නවා. So there are, when it comes for digital communication, there are enough and more digital analytics tools where you can use to see the effectiveness of your digital campaign. So the effectiveness of your conventional marketing campaigns you are using, you are receiving by looking at whatever the feedbacks you receive from the customer, whatever the response, the market growth and all these things, or else the ratings, as I said, LMRB rating, AC Nielsen rating, Kantar ratings, research organization I'm saying, Survey Research Lanka, qualitative research ratings, right? Like that, different research ratings are there. Let's say brand finance ratings, interbrand ratings, OA in tamai ඊට පස්සේ බලන්නේ feedbacks බලන්නේ කියන්නේ කොච්චර effective ද කියන එක. So if you are running a communication campaign, you need to look on these things, guys. Otherwise, you will not be able to make it. You will not be able to make it. But remember, you might not have budgets to do all this, right? So there are different budgeting strategies, right? There are different budgeting strategies where you need to look at. Okay, let me see. Okay, there are a few budgeting strategies you need to look at here to select the communication campaign. So 4 budgeting strategies we are looking at. Very simple, affordable method. I have only 100,000 to spend. I spend 100,000 and try to achieve my objectives. I select the campaign based on the budget I have, right? This is a method which is used mostly. The second one, percentage of sales method, which is commonly used method. I mean, you identify your sales. From the sales, you allocate a percentage for your campaign. But the problem here is your campaign budget is depending on the sales. And your sales is not depending on the campaign what you run. So it should be the other way, right? Campaign එක අනුව තමයි sale එක increase වෙනවද decrease වෙනවද කියලා කියනවනේ. එහෙම නැතුව campaign එකේ budget එක sale එක අනුව වෙනස් වෙන්න බෑ. එතකොට sale එක අඩු දවසට campaign එකේ budget එක අඩු වෙනවා. But when the sales are not there, only you have to allocate some more budgets to run the campaign. So you need to look at those things, right? So percentage of sales method, then again, a commonly used method. And competitor parity methods, you look at your competitor, you study your competitor and allocate somewhat similar budgets to counter the competition. And if I tell you all as an example, the typical 3 giants in the consumer electronics industry, right? Aban, Singer, Softlogic, the Singagiri again, Aban's, right? Now, even unfortunately, Damro is also coming into that stupid concept. I don't know why, right? So when Abans is taking inner front, Softlogic is taking a tabloid, huge, maybe the second page, covering 1 full page. Then Singer is taking the rear page. So, I mean, neck to neck competition. When Singer said 99,900, Aban said 99,999. Then Softlogic also follow the same thing. The Damro also follow the same thing. So, apple to apple attack, right? So, competitor parity. When one company is running TV commercials, the other company also start. When one company said no polymodally, other companies might say another thing, right? So competitor parity methods, you are allocating budgets by looking at your competitor approach. Make up there. But most suitable but expensive method is the objective and task method, which means you identify what are your objectives. Informative objective, or you have persuasive objectives, or you have reminding and reinforcement objectives. I will take one example here. Coca-Cola was not in the market. They had to inform their target market and persuade their target market and the target audience at least to try the product. Huge budget. Huge budget. Coca-Cola has been there in the market for a longer period. Just to remind, when Coca-Cola runs for about 100 commercials, Coke was managing it, saying at 4 to 5, less than 10, forget about 4 to 5, less than 10 commercials, reminding. You look at your objective. Your objective is informative objective, persuasive objective. So your budget based on that. Your objective is reminding objective. Your budget based on that. When a particular brand is already there in your mindset, just a little recall will bring a return for you. But if the brand is not there in the mindset, I mean, company need to take an extensive effort to change the mind and paste the brand in the mindset of the consumer. So extensive effort. Brand rejuvenation and revitalization. Rejuvenation and revitalization. Rejuvenate කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ අලුත් පණක් දෙනවා. Revitalize කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ make it more active, right? rejuvenation එකට සිංහලෙන් කියනවා තිරිහං කරනවායි කියලා. තරුණ කරනවා කියලා. right? එතකොට දැන් අපේ හිටපු ලොක්කා එහෙම අපේ හිටපු ලොක්කා කියලා මගේ හිටපු ලොක්කෙක්වත් මොකෙක්වත් නෙමෙයි අපේ රටේ හිටපු ලොක්කා එහෙම ඉතින් රීජුවනේට් වෙනවා අපිනේ. අපේ මේ නේ MR එහෙම රීජුවනේට් වෙනවානේ. එක දේවල් කර තිරිහං වෙන්න try කරනවා. තරුණ වෙන්න try කරනවා. So rejuvenation and revitalize. Brands උත් එහෙමයි. brand දැන් අපි මොකද්ද අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම EGB rejuvenation and revitalization. අලුත් විදියට ආවා අලුත් එනර්ජි එකක් අරගෙන ආවා brand එක. So එතකොට objective is what? Already තියෙනවා පොඩි change එකකට යන්නේ. Sunlight lemon and lime became sunlight rose. Again a rejuvenation. I mean it's mostly the rejuvenation we see in brands that are declined over a period, but you can even say you are trying to give a new energy to the brand. So if that is the case, your budget should be what kind of a budget? So you got to identify. So these are the 4 budgeting methods. Numbering මතක තියාගන්න, meanings එක මතක තියාගන්න, MCQs එන්න පුළුවන් meaning එක දීලා budget එක මොකක්ද කියලා, budget type එක මොකක්ද කියලා අහන්න. ඒ වගේ එන්න පුළුවන්. Right? 4 budgeting methods: affordable method, percentage of sales method, competitor parity method, and the objective and task method. හරි, ඔක තමයි budgeting methods ටික. Right. So your communication campaign, how customer respond. මේකත් එන්න පුළුවන්. process එක හරියට එන්න පුළුවන්. buyer readiness stage. customer කොහොමද ready වෙන්නේ ඕගොල්ලෝගේ campaign එකට? customer කොහොමද ready වෙන්නේ? ඕගොල්ලෝ campaign එක run කරනකොට your awareness, you're running awareness, customer get the awareness, customer build the knowledge about your product, right? I will take as an example once again, the kick cola. It is very easy since it's a known one. They create the awareness in the mindset of the customer, saying that kick, name, cola category. Customer build knowledge. Okay, cola category. Now we have Pepsi, we have Coke, and another one, the cola category. Knowledge built. Likings created. ආසාවක් ඇති කරනවා campaigns වලින්. At least to try the product. First intention is to try the product. So create liking. Preferences, kick cola තියෙනවා, coca cola තියෙනවා, pepsi තියෙනවා. Out of this, to select kick, they create preferences. Your communication campaign should be able to create preferences. Then you start trying, which means your decision is given to try the product. Conviction, your decision, buying decision, your conviction, your decision making capacity in buying the product. Then finally you decide to purchase and continue with the product. Repurchase, 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 stay with the product. So this is how customer is responding for your communication campaign, my dear friends. Right? මම මේක ලොකුවට රිපීට් කරන්නේ නැහැ. සරල වචන වලින් තියෙන්නේ ඕගොල්ලන්ට flow එක මතක තියාගන්න. Right? මුලින්ම customer දැනගන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ යාට හොඳ knowledge එකක් එනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ආසාව automatically, and also remember මේක හිතලා කරන දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. This happen automatically as a reaction for your communication campaign. Right? තියෙන options එක prefer කරනවා, decide කරනවා, ගන්නවා, try කරනවා කියලා at least decide කරනවා, then purchase කරනවා. So that is the thing. So we are coming into the final part. These are 2 major strategies in marketing communication. Once again, highly tested area. Push versus pull strategy in marketing communication. Look at this carefully. You have 2 communication strategies, namely push versus pull strategy. When we look at push strategy, which means you're pushing your channel intermediary, wholesaler, retailer, agent, broker, franchisor, channel, licensing officers. Push karnawa. You motivate them to take your product to the final customer. So you go and motivate the distributor to buy your product. Distributor goes and motivate the wholesaler below them to buy the product. Wholesaler goes and motivate the retailer to buy the product. Retailer goes and motivate the final customer to buy the product, which means push goes from producer to final consumer. Push goes from producer to final consumer, right? Then pull means what? You're running communication campaigns directly targeting the customer. You run massive TV commercials. You run massive PR campaigns. Then you create awareness among them. You create awareness among them using massive above the line communication strategies. Then you create a pull. With the motivation you created, customer goes and asks your product from the retailer. Retailer goes and say, look here, wholesaler, my customers are now asking more and more your product. Give me more. Wholesaler goes and asks the distributor, my retailers are asking more of your product. Give me more, give me more. Distributor comes and asks the manufacturer, my wholesalers are asking more of your product. Give me more. So pull is created from this end by motivating your final customers over here. So that approach we identified as pull strategy. So push versus pull strategy we identified as two major communication strategy approach we take. Now, when you ask what is best, so it is a mix of both in most of the industries. While you push, you create pull. While you start massive push campaigns through your channels, you create mass, non-mass media communication campaigns to push your products. I mean, create a pull for your product. So push versus pull strategy, we identified as two major strategies. They are in the marketing communication, where theory sticker can be tested. So that is the reason I was covering all the theories. I mean, all in the sense marketing communication තව ගොඩක් තියෙනවා කතා කරන්න. එතකොට දැන් අපි ඇඩ්වර්ටයිසින්ග්ම ගත්තොත් ඇඩ්වර්ටයිසින්ග් විතරක් ගත්තොත් ඇඩ්වර්ටයිසින්ග් වලට වෙනමම ටෙක්ස්ට් බුක්ස් තියෙනවා. right? ඒව වෙනමම ටෙක්ස්ට් බුක්ස් තියෙනවා ඇඩ්වර්ටයිසින්ග් වලට විතරක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම. So integrated marketing communication advertising promotions කියලා වෙනම textbooks තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මේක ලොකු area එකක්. මම ඔය ටක් ගාලා මේවා කරාට මේක දවස් ගාණක් වෙනම subjects කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් එකක්. ඔක මේවා කරාට. So I mean you got to have an idea. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Anyone is having any questions? Anyone is having any questions? We are done with that area. Anyone is having any questions? Anyone? Quickly. Anyone is having any questions? Anyone is having any questions?
So excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, who is this?
Pull strategy එකේදී sir මේ මොකක්ද communication එකට strong වෙන්න ඕනද push strategy එකට වඩා?
තේරුණේ.
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ දැන් pull strategy එකේ customer communication එක through නේ එන්නේ මේ ආපහු demand එක එන්නේ. දැන් push strategy එකේදී sir මේ ඊට වඩා මේ ඒ කියන්නේ මේ අඩු මේ effect එකක්ද දෙන්න ඕනේ මේ communication එක?
Good question anyway. What is your name?
I'm Clarence.
Okay, Clarence, it's a good question. Now here, push strategy means non-mass communication. Non-mass communication. Mass communications නෙමෙයි, like TV, radio, ඒවා කරන්නේ අපි push strategy එකේ. Extensive personal selling, extensive direct marketing, extensive merchandising and displays, extensive dealer promotions, extensive foreign tour projects, extensive dealer gatherings, reward ceremonies, discount offers, bulk discount offers, kind of a thing. Non-mass communications in push strategy. Clear? Pull strategy, extensive marketing communication in mass media. TV, radio, press, digital, extensive. Why? මෙතන යන්නේ personal selling push strategy එකේ මොකද අපිට ඉන්න distributors ලා 100ක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඔය 100 අපේ මේ regional sales managers 3 දෙනෙක් දාලා sales managers ලාගේ යටතේ executives ලා 10 දෙනෙක් දාලා executives ලා 10 දෙනා යටතේ එප්ලා 10 එක්කෙනෙක් 10 දෙනා ගානේ දාලා අපිට ඒ 100 cover කරන්න පුළුවන්. but මෙතන ඉන්න customers ලා ප්‍රමාණය සෑහෙන්න වැඩි. මිලියන ගාණක් customers ලා ඉන්නේ. පැහැදිලිද? එතකොට FMCG product එකක් නම් right මේක විතරක් හරියන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට මෙතනින් pull එක අපි create කරනවා. These are mass media communications. These are personal and non-mass media communications. පැහැදිලිද? අඩු වැඩියක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි use කරන strategies වෙනස් වෙනවා. මෙතනට mass media advertising අපි කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ. මෙතනට කරන්න පුළුවන් event and experience, DIY strategies, dealer promotions, the trade promotions. Right. මෙතනට අපි දෙනවා උදාහරණයක් විදියට target achieve කරොත් foreign tour එකක්. මෙතනට අපි දෙනවා කෑලි 10ක් ගත්තොත් හොඳ තව කෑල්ලක් free දෙන offer එකක්. ඒතර මෙයා motivate වෙනවා mass promotion එකකින්, retail promotion එකකින්, මෙයා motivate වෙනවා trade promotion එකකින්. ඒතර මේ දෙපැත්ත balance කරගෙන යනවා. මෙතන එකකට අඩු කරලා එකකට වැඩි කරනවා කියන එක නෙමේ use කරන strategies වෙනස් වෙනවා. මෙතනට අපිට personal selling කරන්න බෑ if it is a FMCG fast moving products, let's say as an example which goes for wider community. but මෙතනට ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන්. මෙතනට advertising කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ. මොකද dealer බොද වෙන්නේ නැහැ. advertisement එකක් බලලා යාගේ buying decision එක කරන්නේ නැහැ business එක. පැහැදිලිද Clarence and the others? Good question.
Yes sir.
Clear?
Thanks.
Any more questions quickly? Any more questions, guys? Any more questions? අනේ වගේ practically පොඩ්ඩක් හිතන්න. good ඒ වගේ අර ඒක ඒ වගේ confuse වෙනවා කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් ඒක හිතෙන්න ඕනේ අතටම. It's good. Right, seems no questions. Any will take 1 more minute. It's 9:16 now. I'm also tired. Any more questions? And thank you very much for few reviews we got. And if possible, please give a review and in Google reviews. We are searching for a reason, as I said yesterday. Please see whether you have time to give a review with a small statement. So as a support. So any questions? If not, we can quit for the day. Seems no. Guys, thank you very much. So we'll meet up on Sunday. All the best. All the best. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.